Hello, everybody in the virtual world. Welcome back to another edition of Healthy Happy Hour. I am Joseph Ward, one half of the host here for Healthy Happy Hour. I do want to give a shout out to Matthias Sweet and Ian Costello. We're doing double duty now, FAMU homecoming, so they're out, FAMU on the set doing their thing. But me, I'm dedicated to this. I'm making sure we get this Healthy Happy Hour out here today. So I'm just playing, we're all dedicated. But want to welcome you back. Remember, Healthy Happy Hour originally is what we would do for you every third Thursday of every month. But we want to finish the year strong. And we have a lot of community partners and a lot of friends out here who are doing a lot of great things in the realm of health and outside of health. We want to make sure we give you as much information as possible before this year ends. We got to finish 2021 strong. It's been a rough 19, a rough 20, and a rough 2021. So we're going to make sure we finish strong. So here we are giving you as much information as possible. Make sure you visit our website at www.nmcpodcast.com for all of our Healthy Happy Hours, as well as our Mind, Your Body, and Soul podcast. And make sure you visit our parent website at www.neighborhoodmedicalcenter.org. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Neighborhood Medical Center. And we're on all your favorite podcast platforms, Google Play, iHeart, Spotify, all those things. We're out there. So make sure you check us out. So we're going to learn about property appraisal, right? Because we're at a time now, everybody wants to buy a house. Everybody wants to be a homeowner. Social media has everybody buzzing. Everybody's a boss. Everybody's a homeowner. But we need to make sure that we get the right information. We need to make sure that we are appraising our properties correctly, because we hear a lot of people talking about buying houses. Nobody ever talks about the appraisal part of it. And definitive information is something that, when used properly, it could definitely help you improve your situation. Because some people, hey, you might not be getting the best deal, and we want to make sure you get the best deals. So we have Ms. Valencia Scott and Ms. Meghan Poskey, who is here, who are from the Leon County Property Appraisal's Office, and they're going to tell us all about property appraisal. Hey, I'm a greenhorn. I know nothing about it, so please teach me and our audience. So welcome, ladies. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. We're definitely eager to learn all of what you have to teach us, and the floor is yours.
All right. Well, again, I'm Meghan Poskey. I'm the Director of Management Services with the Leon County Property Appraiser. And we have here Valencia Scott, who's with our outreach department. You may wonder why we're wearing pink today. We had a big celebration in the office. LCPA, Leon County Property Appraiser, wears pink. So we had some fun with that, and encouraged the community to come in and check out what we were doing, and had some sweet treats and
Fun photos.
Fun photos.
My pink as well. My
There
pink.
you go.
Yes.
So, leading and making sure that we're involved in causes beyond ourselves is important. That's a big part of what our outreach department team does. I know we have some other events coming up. I know Valencia wanted to share some of those, so I'll let her dig into that a little bit before we go too deep on the property appraisal exemption side of things.
Well, happy homecoming, everyone. Like my sidekick Megan said, I am Valencia Scott. I am half of a whole team for public relations and outreach. Happy homecoming. We actually were just out on campus on Wednesday at the Health and Beauty Expo. Had an amazing time. Got to share a lot of information with current homeowners about potential exemption savings. We'll also be at the Family Homecoming Parade tomorrow morning. Look for Dr. Akinyemi in the parade, smiling and throwing out beads and candy. Hope you catch some. Also, Veterans Day, November 11th. You can catch us at Operation Thank You at the American Legion Hall, helping to serve and honor our homeless or displaced veterans. We'll also be later on that day downtown at Cascades Park for Vet Fest. So for your event, please come on out. It should be beautiful weather. Help salute and honor veterans and learn from our office money-saving exemptions. And more to come. Check out our website, our social media on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn on future events that will be out in the community, serving and connecting with our citizens.
And I just want to say for all of our viewers that their contact information and links to get to their events, we'll make sure we have that in the description. So it'd be easier for you to just click the link and find out their information.
Thank you so much.
No
And
problem.
then can I say I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Ward at a community event last month at the Zion Cares event.
Yes.
One of the first events we actually got to get back out into the community post-pandemic. It was socially safe and secure. We got to serve, I believe, over 300 shop, 400 people.
Yeah.
So it was nice to be out again with you all and our other community partners, serving, disseminating information, and letting everyone know that we're still here for them.
Yes, it was great meeting you, but it was also great for you to actually spark up the conversation with us, because she asked us, "What do you know about property appraisal?" Nothing, but the fact that she turned to us and started up a conversation, but also brought in what she does as the property appraiser, working for the property appraiser's office, because oftentimes we can go to events and we may or may not leave with new connections and new friends within the community, but her warm personality was greeting. So we definitely enjoyed ourselves, had a great time out there, and that was really what made us want to make this healthy happy hour happen, not just because of the information, but because of the warmth and the personality. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And the great thing about those connections is when you all are out and about and you all are serving citizens and you hear of something, I don't know, someone has a disability. Oh, do you own a home? Well, let me connect you to the property appraiser's office. You can help save money off your property taxes. Same for us. If we have a citizen that has issues, disability, getting things, we have someone to refer them to as well. So that's
Yes.
also a really positive thing about growing our outreach network.
Yes. All right, so we ready to learn. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Okay, so I guess just let's talk about like the core function of our office. We are the Leon County Property Appraiser, but what we do as a constitutional county office is very different than what a private appraiser may do out in the world beyond our walls. So we're appraising property for tax purposes only. And we're charged with producing a fair and equitable tax roll. So everything that we do in the office is geared towards that. And so the valuation piece of what we do is for tax purposes, and to draw that line or differentiate that between what a private appraiser does is important, because the value we're placing on property is not necessarily what you would buy or sell it for. And that's just one factor. That's just one aspect of our office. The other aspect, or one of the other major components, is property tax exemptions, which I know we want to talk about today, because that's speaking directly to the homeowners in our community, those people that are owning and residing in their homes, and that's a chance to save money if you're eligible. And then we have our outreach component. We also have a department dedicated to ownership records. They are involved in making sure that property ownership is reflected accurately. And again, that goes back to having an accurate tax roll. And then we have a GIS mapping department. They're responsible for maintaining all of our maps and our legal description information. And then to back us up in all of that, we have an IT department that I can't tell you. Can't live without them.
Right.
So we're made up of many different departments, but our sole function is to produce that tax roll on a yearly basis. And again, it's for tax purposes that we do the valuation, not for buying and selling homes necessarily.
Okay. And I'm glad you said that, because in my mind, the evaluation was strictly for buying homes. So.
Yeah, and that's actually a common question that we get. So, we take a number of calls, some of which are more frequent. That is one of them that we tend to take the time to explain to folks that call, because it can be confusing. If you're not in the real estate industry, if you're not in The appraisal world, if it's your first time buying a home, there's a lot that goes on in that process. It can be extremely overwhelming. So we try to do everything that we can to help alleviate that for people and to make sure that they have the information that they need.
Okay, that's great.
Do we want to talk about property tax exemptions in particular? That's a big topic when you're buying a home and
Yes.
planning to reside. Okay. So probably the one that most people have heard about is homestead exemption. This is the exemption, that you become eligible for when you buy a home and you make that home your permanent residence. It can save you up to $50,000 off the assessed value of your home, which is a chunk, which equates to about $800 in savings a year. So when people buy a home, and we note that, right, because we see the ownership transfer, we try to proactively reach out to those people and say, hey, you just bought a home, you might want to look into this exemption, you might be eligible, please reach out to us if you are, because we'd like to save you some money.
Right.
And it's actually, there's a second part to that, because once you qualify for homestead, in that following year of qualifying, you get this cap placed on your value, your assessed value. And that cap allows your assessed value to not grow more than a certain percentage every year. And so no matter what the market is doing, over time with that cap in place, you have the potential to build up this difference in value. And then that difference becomes portable or transferable in the future, should you decide to buy another home and move into that home. So there's really two benefits to homestead, that initial savings and then that cap that comes a little bit later.
Okay. So just to make sure I'm understanding, so with the homestead, you're saying if say I have a home and I have the homestead evaluation and I move, the evaluation moves with me?
You have to submit a new application on the new home, but at the same time, what we'll be asking is if you had a previous homestead. And if you say that you have, and it's been within a certain time frame, 3 years, then we're going to say, oh, okay, you're eligible potentially for what we call portability.
Gotcha.
And that's that additional savings that then we can transfer forward to your new home. Yeah.
Okay. And that portability is only within that 3-year window.
It is. There is a window. Yeah, it doesn't go on forever, but it's important because it could be substantial. It could be a substantial savings that you don't want to miss out on if you've had homestead previously.
So how often are clients taking advantage of the portability of the homestead evaluation?
We get between 3,000 and 4,000 homestead applications a year. So for our county, those, if you were comparing us to like Orange County or a county in South Florida, that might seem like a small number to you, but for the size of our county and what we do, that's a decent number of applications.
Yes, that's almost everybody.
And that's just one exemption. So there's many exemptions. That's just one. That's the main one. People like to talk about. So.
Okay. You want to tell him the perk of this exemption. I got a lot of these questions, matter of fact, on campus on Wednesday. One thing about Tallahassee and FAMU and just the state of Florida, we get a lot of visitors. A lot of people that sort of kind of want to maybe sit down secondary routes, but not primary. So there's one benefit, one perk in order to get the exemption to be eligible for it. Got to be a Florida resident.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. People have second homes. We're not saying you can't have a second home, but the home that you're claiming as your homestead or that you're filing for your homestead exemption on has to be your primary residence. So if you have a residency-based exemption in another county or state, you will not be eligible to file in Leon County for homestead exemption. So you do have to keep that in mind. But the great thing about it, if you do qualify and you get approved, is that it automatically renews. So it's not like you have to come back and file every year. Once you file and you're approved, it's in place, As long as nothing changes, meaning you don't rent or sell or lease or move out of the property in any way, then it's just going to keep rolling over for you.
Okay.
So it's kind of a one-time thing, and then you're good to go.
Oh, that's great. That's amazing. So.
Yeah, and there's no fee. You don't have to. There's no fee to file, so it's free.
Okay. And see, that's why we do things like this, because I'm learning something new for the first time. I never knew that. And so I'm grateful for this, because I'm gearing up to buy a home and getting into market making. I'm getting everything straight. But this is, like I said, this is something nobody ever talks about, property appraisal. So I'm definitely got my notes out. I'm gonna watch this so many times to learn as much as possible.
I mean, you touch on something though that's so true. As you go through this whole process of shopping for a home, of securing the loan, of finding the insurance, you go through all these hoops, and then you get to closing and you get your key and you're just exhausted, and then you're just ready to move in, right? Well, property tax exemptions are like the last thing on your mind probably. And then by the time you realize that they should have been on your mind, it might be too late. So we actually undergo an entire awareness campaign every year, which we're gearing up for now, going into January and February, leading up to the March 1 annual filing deadline. We'll be pushing information out into the community, doing things similar to this, just to make people aware that this is a thing, you should care about it, here's how you file, here's the deadline, and just making sure that we get that word out as much as possible.
Right. Okay. Well, I have a question, if you don't mind.
Okay.
What are some of the most common myths, or guess you could say things that people think about property appraisal that aren't necessarily true, but these are the narratives out here?
Sure. Well, the first one that comes to the top of my head is the rental of homestead property. So if you have a home that you own and you are renting that home is not going to be eligible for homestead. So it's not just that you own it, it's that you occupy it as well.
Okay.
But we get that question a lot too, can I buy a home and rent it out and qualify? And the answer is no.
Okay.
I inherited a house from my parents. Where'd the exemption go? They lived there for 20 years and they had an exemption, and why isn't it there now? So another myth or misconceived notion is that the exemption that my parents had, or whomever I got the house from, automatically transfers to me, and that's not true.
Okay, so they would have to renew the exemption or have it registered under them because they're now the in charge of the house, or the owners of the house.
Right. Yeah. If they were not an owner previously, but they become an owner, they would have to file their own application.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that makes me think of something that we actually have present within our frequently asked questions on our website, which deals with tax shock. It's what we call it, which is when somebody goes to buy a home from an individual or a family that's been in that home for a really long time, and they've had homestead exemption for a really long time. I don't know if you remember the cap that I talked about.
Yes.
The benefit of homestead. Whenever that ownership transfer occurs, whenever that change happens, that cap comes off. So the value then goes to current day. And so you can end up having a very different tax bill than the owner prior to you.
Okay.
And that's difficult to know going into it, but it does happen, and that can catch people very much off guard. You go from a $2,000 a year property tax to a $4,000 a year property tax, and then you're wondering what happened, and that typically is the case.
Right. Right.
So that it's something to be aware of as well.
That's amazing. Yeah, like I say, these are things we just don't learn about. That's why it's great. So do you guys get a chance? Because I know I saw Valencia on campus yesterday, but do you guys get a chance to go into schools or go more onto the campuses and being able to talk to people or community organizations and things to get this information out?
Actually, that's a great question. When Dr. Akinini, our current property appraiser, elected property appraiser, who's now serving his second 4-year term,
Right,
yes,
right.
it was very important to him to create an outreach, a public information program. So we are doing that, and we're still growing that program. So if, let's say, Joseph, you're a teacher, you've now learned about this, and you want to expose your high school students to different variations of finance and things like that, and you wanted us to come in and speak, we'll definitely do that. Come in, speak, talk about these things. We do visit homeowners association meetings, church groups, finance groups. If you all want us to come and talk further about these details, just like we're doing today, we're a phone call or email away. We do try to seek these programs out to regularly attend veteran meetings or disability clubs or things of that nature. But yeah, if there's a particular demographic that someone wants us to come in, a school, a club, contact us. Sometimes we can't always find them, so we love when they find us.
And I think we have a link on our main website page.
I think it's
to
still there.
request, and at least in our newsletter, we do a quarterly newsletter, and I know we put information in that in regards to, you know, reaching out to us. If you have a need or a want for us to come present, we will.
Okay. So another question. Is there a person who's going to get their property appraised? Is there anything that would disqualify a person from being able to access any of the programs or the incentives that you guys have? Outside of not living in the area?
I mean, no. I mean, we're pretty open as a local government office. I think we have a great website. There's lots of information on our website. You can accomplish many services through the website as well, versus having to come visit the office or through the mail or some other mechanism. But no, I mean, we have all kinds of people that rely on our information that are local but aren't local. So we're open. You know, even if you're not needing to file for Homestead or some other exemption, there may be information, data that we have that's useful.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say too, we provide a lot of courtesy links to other county offices like the tax collector and growth management. Through our website, if you were to search for a particular address and you wanted to get more information, we try to make it easy for you to kind of navigate to those important pieces of information that you may want to get your hands on.
Okay. So what advice or what would you tell somebody who's a first-time home buyer who's going through this process, know nothing about none of these things, but they learned that they need to go through this process? What kind of steps or information would you give that person to get the best experience that they possibly can have?
I mean, for us, the big deal for exemptions is March 1. March 1 is the annual filing deadline for property tax exemptions. It's the same every year. So anytime you go to close on a home, you know, have property tax exemptions on your radar and have March 1 on your radar. And we actually provide to a number of the title companies in town a packet that you should get in your closing documentation. And I know there's a lot there, but we do try to slip something in to give you that information to take home with you so that when you're ready, you can have that, you can read it, you can call us, go on the website and make that happen.
Okay.
But March 1 is a big deal when it comes to property tax exemption. So.
Also, Joseph, you talked about first-time home buyers, so I'm going to do a little plug for us and for another one of our community partners, the Tallahassee Lenders Consortium. They are an amazing educational hub. So not only do people seek them out for down payment assistance, but also they're a step-by-step program. It's home buyer education, and they bring in resources. They bring in realtors, title agents, inspectors, everyone from any different entity that you would go through with buying a home to come in and speak to you, educate you, walk you through that process. I'm proud to say that we are part of that home buyer education program. We regularly, several times a month, educate, do a segment on homestead exemption and other exemptions that our office is a gateway to filing with those residents. So it's another good component. We try to give them as much info as we can. What we can, we give them. If we can't, we try to point them in the right direction. We're known to be like this information hub. Everybody calls us for everything, even if we don't handle it.
It's true.
Yeah. And I think primarily because you're always going to get a human, and everybody here is patient, will walk you through. And because we're so used to getting these questions, we know exactly where to direct you. And even if we don't, we try to find out where to direct you.
Right.
So, yeah. So.
Nah, but that helps. That definitely helps. We understand getting all the phone calls, so we definitely understand that. But no, I think that's amazing. There's things that I want more people to know about so they can take advantage of. In our community, one of the biggest things is we just lack information or access to the information. So we can make it easier for people to access the information. We can see an uptick of more people being able to get their property appraised, being able to take advantage of the programs and all the exemptions that are available. Because there are a lot of people who go through the first-time home buying program. They may qualify, but they may not be able to afford, and you have all these different things, and nobody ever talked to them about taxes. So this is great information.
And another important aspect, so I'm at community events like I was with you last month, or even at the FAMU event, and we'll continue to get them in the future. They see our table, oh, that's what you do. I already have Homestead. And not to understand that we're there to discuss other information that you may not know, other exemptions that have been created over the years through the legislature, or that have changed. Their situation may have changed. So we do also try to connect with the community about, hey, this is what's currently out there. Did you know that you can apply for this or that? Oh, you're a disabled veteran, you're a senior, you're this. So we also have various other exemptions that we do try to communicate to the public.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because the legislation really does, I mean, every year there's something new. If it's not a brand new exemption, it's a tweak to an exemption that already existed. So it does constantly change.
Right.
And therefore we change with it. So I know we've talked a lot about homestead exemption, but there's exemptions for low-income seniors who own a home in the community that are of a certain age and a certain income. There's exemptions for people with disabilities, for veterans with disabilities. So there's a number of exemptions that we administer that, other than homestead. So that's that. And we have a great tab on our website, an exemptions tab, that does a really nice job of just kind of plain language explaining what those are, and then linking you out to different resources if you want to read further, and telling you too kind of what you need to do to apply.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the exemptions for disabilities, how do those work? And just because you have a disability, do you qualify?
No, not necessarily. So there is a lot of supporting documentation tied to the exemptions that we administer, meaning we may need you to give us something like a proof of disability in order to qualify you, or there may be a special state form that we need to have you fill out before we can qualify you. And it depends on the level of disability, and which exemption in particular you're trying to qualify for. But just to give you an example, we do administer a total, it's for people that are totally and permanently disabled. If they have a specific type of disability that leads to that, and they're on a limited income, then they can qualify for an exemption. However, if you're somebody that's not totally and permanently disabled, but you have some level of disability, and you can provide information from the Social Security Administration, then you can qualify for an exemption. That the impact or the value of that exemption is less than if you were totally and permanently disabled and qualified for that with a limited income, but it's still something. So they do vary The qualifications vary, the supporting documentation varies, but they're there. And our job is to help walk people through that and to help them figure out what they do in fact qualify for.
Okay.
Yeah.
About how long is the process for somebody when they're filling out the exemptions to the actual when they're qualified? What's the length of that process?
No, that's a good question. So it depends on how you file. So we offer online filing for homestead exemption only currently. If you go that route for homestead, we're turning it around to you in 24 to 48 hours. Unless there's some question, some concern with the application, it's most likely going to be the same day. Unless we're in peak season, it's probably going to be within that 24-hour window. For the other exemptions, which right now we do not offer online filing for, those may just, by the nature of how they come to us, through the mail, through fax, through walk-in, are going to be handled a little differently. But still, the turnaround, unless there's any questions or concerns, is going to be pretty quick. Our exemptions department does a really nice job of taking those in, sorting out any questions that do come up and getting a response back, at least an initial response to people. So
Gotcha. And you said peak season, so it's peak season around the March 1st date?
Leading up to that, yeah,
Okay.
certainly. So like come January, February, that's going to be, the volume of applications will certainly go up. Yeah.
Gotcha. People trying to make sure they get their spot.
Right, right.
Yes. Okay. All right, that's amazing. So I'm trying to formulate it correctly because, like I say, this is something that I want more people to know about. This is something that has been around in the city, and I think with Dr. Akinyemi being in the space that he's in, because I remember viewing him as he was elected the first time and viewing him as he's elected this time, but also my had a few interactions with him in the community, and I know he has that personality. So that personality, he has a big personality, so it helped open up the program. But I'm glad that you guys have the outreach component amongst other things, because it gives those people who may not have access to your information the chance to hear you, to see you, and to also understand that I too have a chance, even though I may come from low income communities, because as you just articulated, we have programs for that. We have exemptions for that. But people literally don't know these things. So you guys are doing a great job at what you're doing to come to our community and giving people a chance at a better future, a chance at owning something and having something in their name rather than believing that they have to rent for the rest of their life. You have a piece of property and you can get the best deal and get the maximum out of your property because of what you guys are doing. So my hat goes off to you, and just thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Joseph. That was really one of his main, most important components coming into office. Wanted to make sure that money-saving information was equally distributed for all citizens in this county. Whether you live on the north side, south side, whether you drive a BMW or ride the bus, you own a home, you're a citizen, it's your primary residence, you're entitled to know about the information so that you have the opportunity to take advantage of it.
Okay, so another question popped in my mind. Does the area of town you live in determine how your property will be appraised as far as taxes?
That is a good question.
Yeah, so the approach that's used here for residential, it's a mass appraisal approach. So there are models that our valuation or appraisal department will use to arrive at that value for your particular home. So it's not like, you know, we take a home over here and a home over here and say, oh, okay, well, they should be the same. You know, it's not like that. It's based on a broader model, and it's in a mass appraisal approach. Okay.
Because I always wondered how different areas were taxed and then houses within the areas were taxed. So, but it's not like they have some kind of set template or whatever, but they have to go off of, I'm sure things fluctuate over time, and so tax rates and all things will change. So.
Well, and certainly part of the appraisal department's job is to keep a pulse on all of that too, right? Like models can change. They may need to be updated. There may be new information that comes in on a particular property that affects its value. You know, if somebody has a fire or damage from a hurricane, those are things that we try to keep up with as well. And we ask people to inform us of that so that we can make considerations for the value that they're then going to be taxed on. So, you know, we are keeping up with a lot, and all of it comes together to then inform the valuation.
Okay. So I never thought about how damage to your home would affect your tax rate and how you evaluate it. But it makes sense.
Yeah.
Definitely makes sense. And so also, if let's say a property been sitting for 10, 15 years, does that tax rate or the evaluation increase, decrease, or how does that work?
The condition of a property certainly can affect how it's taxed. Sometimes we know about that through field inspections. We have a field staff, an entire field department whose job is to go out into the community and actually put eyes on local Leon County properties and bring back data and pictures and information that help again inform valuation. So certainly the condition can be a factor. And taxpayers do call and they will say, hey, this is going on with my house, it's unlivable, maybe there's mold, maybe there's something going on, and we consider that. We will listen to that and we will take that information in and make adjustments in value if we can justify it.
Right. Okay. Because that really matters. But I think it's because the narratives and how social media is set up, where they see other people doing things and like, hey, I want a house, I just want to do this and do that, and they go through the process, and then they're bombarded by all these different things that they need to do, and they may get discouraged by the process. But having definitive information and understanding what the true steps are really will help people, instead of just being blindsided and thinking that it's just supposed to be an easy process. So.
Right.
Absolutely.
And we always encourage people to call. Like, if there is any question, any concern, call. If you need to call 20 times, call. Like, we're here and we'll give you everything that we have. And if we can't give it to you, we'll refer you to someone who we think can. We're very open in that way.
Okay. So with that being said, what is your contact information? How can people get in contact with you two individually, but also the office of the property appraiser office?
Sure. So the main number is going to be 850-606-6200. Our website is leonpa.org, short and sweet. My direct number, if anyone would like to call me, is going to be the same area code, 850-606-6240.
And for myself, if you have questions about anything we talked about today, or how you can learn more about our outreach program, we're having an event. We'd love you all to come. We'd like to meet with you about how we can partner as community to further educate the public. You can contact myself or my director, Andy Janicek. You can reach me at 850-606-6212. Andy can be reached at 850-606-6215. If you don't get one, you'll get the other tag team. So he is my partner in community relations.
Yes. Cool. And what I would like to do moving forward, because it seems like we may be able to come back outside like we want to and have events in person. So I would like to have a workshop with you guys, be able to set something up. If not by December, I know after January, be able to set a workshop up, especially within our communities that we serve on a regular basis, because the information is needed. The information is definitely needed. Also, if you guys don't know about we partner with Second Harvest, and we do bi-weekly empowerment events. And basically it's like a resource fair. So same event I'm at Valencia at, basically the same type of event, but we just go to specific neighborhoods. There's one coming up next Friday. I will send you the information as well as the person who's the contact for Second Harvest, so you can be able to have his contact information and be a part of that. But I think you guys being a part of these empowerment events will be great too. So more people within those communities. Like last time was in the Providence community. We've gone into Joe Louis, we've gone into South City, all these different places. So those people being able to see you, because there are people in those communities who are looking to buy, who may not have this information. So we'll definitely make sure I get you that information, but also work on setting up a workshop so we can get more of this information from you.
Yeah, I like all of that. I love the workshop idea in particular. It would fit really well within our annual campaign. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Now this has been wonderful. I'm definitely happy to meet both of you and be able to collaborate with both of you, because just want to be able to bring as many resources to Tallahassee as possible. I see Tallahassee getting better. I see Tallahassee growing as a native Tallahassean. Now I'm like, dang, I was born like 30-something years too early and not be able to take advantage of all this stuff. But I'm proud of our generation and older generations for how we are giving back, and you guys are a part of this, what I call this mass giving back in Tallahassee and making things better, and our community is definitely better because of people like you two. So thank you all for what you do.
You're very kind. I find you adorable. I think you have great energy, and thank you for having us on today.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
They're like,
you're great.
A big ball of energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we're virtual, but I feel it. So.
Yes. So when we get a chance to be in person, we'll definitely roll out the red carpet for you guys.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. So listen, people, this is how we do Healthy Happy Hour. Our job is to make sure we give you the information that you need. So remember, usually every third Thursday of every month, but we're finishing out this year strong. So we're going to give you these Healthy Happy Hours. You might get 2 a month. So this is coming out real soon. So y'all stay tuned. We love you guys. We love you, Tallahassee, all of our community partners. Thank you to the Office of the Property Appraisal here in Leon County. Thank you to Megan. Thank you to Valencia. Thank you to your whole team and everybody. And all of our people in virtual land and our YouTube land and our website. We'll see you guys later. So peace out.
Bye.
Bye.